Joined by head coach Misti Cussen here on ORUGoldenEagles.com after the first women's basketball practice of the season. Coach, I know the first one always comes with its own set of nerves and everything else that just comes with that first time you're on the court as a team. Talk about what it's like to go through the paces for the first time with this group.
Well, we have a lot of new faces on this year's team. I think there's 7 freshmen and 3 junior college transfers. And so with all of that going on, there's just a lot of teaching to do this year. And I think for what I had planned for practice today, we got through about 2/3 of it, just because we kind of slowed down and took our time. And this will be a week in our first week of practice that there's a little more talking than what I'd normally like to do on the floor right now. But I thought the things that we wanted to teach and the details that we wanted to pursue, I love the energy of the group. They're very attentive. They're very hungry to learn, very youthful compared to our teams that we've had the last 3 or 4 years from here at ORU. But I was really proud. My 4 returning players that I have, Christian Key and Sarah Shelton, Detty Balla, and Jenny Bryan, they did a great job leading in practice today by example, and I felt like all of our new players just jumped in right behind them with a lot of energy today.
How do you spend these first few practices without getting too specific? Is it more conditioning? Is it more installing the offense, installing the defense, just kind of general drills to get everybody up to speed, or a combination of all those things?
I think we definitely are beginning to put pieces together. We've done a lot of teaching all during, this summer we were able to work out for the first time with our new players. That was a new rule with the NCAA this year. So we got to have 2 hours a week on the court with them in small groups all through the summer. We did the exact same thing during the month of August and September, but we haven't been on the floor with them completely in a teaching situation. So a lot of the things that we did today, we were beginning to glue the pieces together that we've been able to do with just positions. And so, of course, that's a little rocky, when you start to kind of put together your offensive scheme and some things like that. But we didn't try to do too much today. We tried to just kind of focus on what we did put in. We wanted it to be clean and for the girls to have a good comprehensive understanding. And we'll take a big step up even just tomorrow with the girls knowing what to expect on the court here.
Even the practice schedule, I know, is a lot different this year. You're starting earlier, but you also have more off days before we get to the beginning of the season. How do you manage that? Because I know you've been doing a long time the old way. So how do you get used to kind of a new schedule that you've got to get used to this year?
Right. I really like what the NCAA has gone to, and I think this is our 2nd year that we've done it this way, to where you count back 40 days from your very first game, and then you have to take 10 of those days off. And it's basically increased our season from 2.5 weeks to 4 to 4.5 weeks as far as getting ready for our first exhibition games or opening tips. And it just makes you don't feel like you have to just compress everything into the first 5 practices of the year. I like the ability to kind of add it in small doses, especially with as many new faces we have this year. I don't want them to feel overwhelmed with the amount of knowledge that we've got to get into them for this season. So I really like it. I feel like we're able to be a lot more effective as teachers on the court, and I like to be on the floor with them and help them understand why we do the things that we do. So it's more conducive to that for me as far as my style is concerned too.
You mentioned all the new faces, and I know that's going to be a theme, at least for the opening part of the year. You guys, maybe more than any other team in America, you knew what your roles were going to be even before the season started. For about 3 years now, you knew who was going to run the point. You knew who was going to take the shots. You knew who was going to be around the glass doing the rebounding. That's all wide open this year. How quickly into these practices do you start defining those things before you get to November 8th?
I think we've got a good idea in different positions right now. I've got some new players this year that I already know are going to play big roles for us in certain components of the game, and I won't talk about any of those. I won't put those responsibilities on them publicly quite yet. But we even had some situations happen today to where we were able to really call out a couple of our new faces to really complement the work that's being done and the effort that's going in. And so I think we've got 1 or 2 defensive stoppers this year. I think we've got a couple of ball handling guards that can play multiple positions for us and really help us out. I think we've got some 3-point shooting that's come in this year that can give us a little more offensive threat in our bigger guard positions. So today just reinforced what I thought I would see. There were no bad surprises. There were only good affirmations today, of what we were hoping to get.
Sounds like a good first practice. Coach, thanks for stopping by.
Good. Thanks, Rob.
All right, we have tons of coverage on ORUGoldenEagles.com of the first women's basketball practice of the season. We've got picture galleries, we've got videos, lots of stuff before the November 8th tip-off against USAO. And, of course, you can follow the Golden Eagles all season long at ORUGoldenEagles.com.